Dirty Sports Podcast. I said, welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast with Andy Ruther and Joe Prano. Welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast.
Welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast. I am your host, Andy Ruther, coming to you live from Cincinnati, Ohio, with my co-host from Los Angeles, California, Joey No Chill Prano.
Hello, Andrew.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon on a day that we did not, as of now, miss the news.
Yeah, for once. I would like to see, it feels like it's always the Monday show too. I feel like that's just, we do the show 10 a.m. usually ish my time, finishes around noon my time, finishes around 3 p.m. East Coast time. I feel like a lot of deals get done Monday afternoons. The amount of time I would literally love to see historically what sort of things that would be qualified as big breaking sports news happen within 11 minutes of us finishing a Monday show. If you thought you weren't getting a contract, wait until 11 minutes after the Dirty Sports Podcast on a Monday. It'll get a done deal. This Monday, I finished the Monday show and was like, I got to go to the bathroom. I was on the toilet when Rodgers' deal was announced. I was like, this couldn't have happened 4 minutes ago.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing that it happens. Like the timing it's pretty impeccable. But we pushed today's show, which I said to you last night on the phone. I said this might help because there could be some signing, some trades with the draft. And sure enough, as of not even 15 minutes ago, Lamar Jackson has agreed to a 5-year deal with the Ravens. We don't know the numbers.
Yeah, because before the show, you texted me 30 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes before we went on. We were sitting in the waiting room together, and you're kind of like, I can't believe they did this deal. And I was like, well, I mean, the numbers matter. If they sign him, which they obviously didn't, but if they sign him for $15 million for the next 5 years, it's a great deal, right? I don't think either of us are the world's biggest Lamar believers, but I'm also not. I always like to say, with pretty few exceptions, I'm a truther. I was never a Carmelo Anthony hater. I mean, I hate him, but I'm also a truther. But the hate comes from my truth. If they got him for a somewhat reasonable deal, good for them. They like him. They want to make it work with him. He's been great for them at times when he can stay on the field. Let's see what the numbers are. I have a feeling in the end, I'm not going to think it's the world's greatest deal, but who knows?
Well, considering Lamar is already putting out a video of himself talking about the deal, I bet it's pretty friendly to him.
Right. Well, it's obviously something that he is okay with because he turned down some money, maybe possibly more than once. He was prepared to sit out, and the deal's done. So yeah, it's probably something he's okay with, but I think within reason, it could still be something that I'm like, okay, well, that's the Ravens' call to tie their future to this, but I'm not going to hate on it until I know what specifically it looks like.
So, here's the deal. We're going to talk a lot of quarterbacks today because it's the draft and obviously the Aaron Rodgers official trade to the Jets. So we'll go over all that today because quarterbacks obviously are the discussion when it comes to NFL. We have an interesting call about a strategy to possibly.
And I know we're going to talk about it a lot. You're going to make me sit here and wait to talk NBA. I've poured myself the world's largest iced coffee. I'm jived up.
No, we can talk whatever. Here's my thing. I'm just going to say this out the gate. I don't have the level of interest in the draft that a lot of people have. Surprisingly, as a guy who's a big NFL guy, my thing always is it's the draft. We have to see them play. You know, like I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just it's all projections.
Well, to me, I have interest in the NFL draft, but the interest in the NFL draft to me comes in sort of I would say a different form than probably people who really enjoy college football, who want to see where the guy they like or the guy they think is going. For me, it's always what kind of deals are going to get done today. Are people going to trade up to get a guy they like, trade back to get a guy they like? Are big players in the NFL going to move? And then, of course, like what I know about NFL teams and what I think that they need, are they going to, address those issues? Or, like a lot of teams, you just take the best guy on the board. And how does my team draft? How does teams that we're going to compete against in the division draft? How does Super Bowl contenders from the last few years draft? But again, I don't really know enough about the guys, especially this year with the Giants picking in the 20s, as opposed to when we pick in the top 6 or 8 or whatever. You're like, ooh, what are we getting? So to me,
by the way, I hate to cut you off. We do have some information.
We have some Lamar Jackson numbers.
Ian Rappaport tweeted 6 minutes ago,
okay,
basically when we started this show, that Lamar Jackson's 5-year deal makes him the NFL's highest paid player.
Okay.
Right over
so
Jalen.
Now I hate it.
Right over Jalen Hurts, who got a 5-year, $255 million deal recently, which again, Jalen Hurts did not get $255 million guaranteed.
Right. And in fact, the way that the Jalen Hurts deal was done, it's way better for the team than, we talked about on the first show, that when we didn't see the specifics of it. But that being said, this new strategy of sort of kicking the can down the road. Oh, he'll be a $20 million cap hit this year, or a $6 million cap hit this year, whatever it may be. And then somewhere down the road, we'll give Jalen Hurts $70 million. Well, to me, it's like you're still got to pay that at some point. And so I understand keeping the window open, as we've talked about with rookie deals and keeping your quarterback low. But there's now a thing with these deals where you're going, we're going to keep it open now, but we're also going to fuck ourselves later on, and you get yourself into a situation like the Rams have, where it's like they got one and then they fall off because the cap situation's out of control.
Well, it's like the it's like your Mets with Bobby Bonilla or the Reds with Ken Griffey Jr.
Right. The difference, of course, being there's no salary cap in baseball, so
sure,
who cares?
Yeah, no, for sure. But no, I agree. It's like, okay, kick it down the road. You better make sure you get a championship.
Exactly.
Like the Rams did it. They made it work. They got a title. That's all that matters. If the Rams suck for the next 5 years, you got a Super Bowl. It's not easy to win a Super Bowl. I don't think Lamar Jackson ever plays in a Super Bowl. I'm just going to say, people probably think I'm a Lamar Jackson hater at this point. I just don't think he does, based on what I've seen so far. Like, I don't know, like that division. Here's the thing about that division. You're not the best. Like, well, first of all, this gets really interesting for the Joe Burrow quarterback contract. Dude, You're not the best quarterback in your division. Who honestly is taking Lamar Jackson over Joe Burrow?
I don't think anybody realistically.
Right?
Not realistically. Now you can go on the internet and get the worst takes of all time.
For sure. But my point is,
there are people out there who will say it.
But do you see my point? Like, where does that put that contract situation?
Well, it puts it, who knows? They just picked up Joe Burrow's option. They're planning on, I assume they're planning on extending him before that is over. But who knows? Dude, first of all, the NFL salary cap in some ways isn't real.
Yeah.
It's being adjusted how it needs to be. But at the same time, it's sort of like, I still think, the Tom Brady team friendly, kick the extension, kick the guarantee down the road thing. It's a good plan if you're going to have your quarterback for the next 20 years and just pay him until the fucking, the end of time. But if your window is the Jalen Hurts window or the Lamar Jackson window, again, like you said, you better win it. Because if you don't win in the next couple of years, suddenly you have a $65 million quarterback.
Yeah.
Now, the cap situation and how the Ravens will work it out with Lamar, it has obviously yet to be determined. That usually doesn't come out for a day or two after the fact. But as I said about Jalen Hurts, and I stand by despite how they worked out the cap, and I will say it again about Lamar Jackson, despite how they work out the cap, you just paid not the best quarterback in the NFL, the most money that's ever been given out. So on that, to steal a line from Mark Cuban, for that reason, I'm out.
Yeah. I can't wait. I cannot wait to see the guaranteed. I can't wait to see it. I'm shocked. I'm shocked because these negotiations had literally been going on for years. And it seemed like the Ravens had dug their foot in the ground. And it's like they weren't going to budge is what it seemed.
And maybe they didn't budge in the he wants $200 million guaranteed thing. Who knows?
Well, let me ask you.
But again, on the face of it alone, regardless of how they finagle it, regardless of how they, twist the cap into a pretzel, regardless of whatever, if I'm the GM of the Baltimore Ravens and you tell me going into this offseason we have to make Lamar Jackson the highest paid player in the history of the NFL, I'm going to say I think we should draft a quarterback.
Exactly.
That's me. Now, fans, GMs get fired for that shit. But let me
ask you this. Because this will segue to Rodgers. Don't worry. We're going to get to the NBA. I have a lot of NBA to discuss.
Don't worry. We're going to get to Rodgers too. Because, okay, let's go.
But this is a segue to Aaron Rodgers. I think this is a perfect segue. 39-year-old Aaron Rodgers is going to a top 3 defense. The Ravens have a top 3 defense. I will ask you right now. I know my answer. Who do you trust more in the playoffs with a top 3 defense?
What are we even saying here?
Okay.
Do I trust the 4? Everybody's fucking Lamar Jackson thing is he won the MVP, won the MVP. Aaron Rodgers won 4.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers plays a style of quarterback that's been working in the NFL since fucking Joe Montana and fucking Bill Walsh. It's not even a question. I don't really care about age because if you look at historically, just in recent years, we have evidence of over the hill ish. Aaron Rodgers could still throw the football. Peyton Manning couldn't throw the football. And he won a fucking Super Bowl. And that's a testament to how great he is as a quarterback, how great he is under center pre-snap, how great he is with, in the locker room. Aaron Rodgers is no Peyton Manning in terms of, I think, a couple of those scenarios, but he's closer to Peyton Manning than Lamar Jackson is.
Well, we have the numbers. They're just coming in. So here's what we got from Mr. Lamar Jackson.
Well, I'm already out, so...
5-year, $260 million, $185 million guaranteed, which puts him second behind Deshaun Watson.
So they didn't pay him they did set their, they did stick to some sort of reasonable thing based on what they wanted to do. And Lamar Jackson obviously he's the highest paid player in football. So how could you complain about that? Seems like everybody in this situation is kind of happy, especially maybe Bengals fans.
So, you guys were so wrong about Lamar. I see in you.
What were we wrong about?
That's what I'm trying to think about.
Well, Matthew Reisner add to it.
Yeah, but I seriously would love to know.
What were we wrong about?
The teams didn't want to pay him.
Well, first of all, no team like, he's been a Raven this whole time. They franchise tagged him. They didn't want to give him. The reports were he wanted $200 million guaranteed, right?
Correct.
Wasn't that the reports the whole time?
Yeah.
And we said that the Ravens didn't want to give him that. No team wanted to give him that, or else he would have been contacted by another team. So then the Ravens negotiated a deal with him for $186 million guaranteed. So Matthew, we'll come back to your comments, I guess, if you have one, unless you've, like most of you fucking assholes, have deactivated your account already and refuse to fucking play ball anymore.
Well, look, man.
Don't worry. I got a lot of it for a lot of people today.
Well, I'm saying I don't know what he's saying. I want to hear.
I know. That's what I'm saying. So we just talked. I just told you what I think. Like, I don't know what I said about Lamar Jackson other than no team's giving him $200 million guaranteed. And guess what? No team did.
I can't believe.
Wasn't the report he turned down $233 million or something like that? Like,
I'll be honest. There's been so much Lamar discussions, even on the show, and just me reading about it, like, I forgot. All I know is this. I agree with your previous comment before any of this about anybody who is a Cincinnati Bengals fan.
No, I mean, I don't think Cincinnati Bengals fans are happier than if Lamar Jackson doesn't play and they have to start fucking whoever.
Sure.
You know, I don't think you'd prefer playing, you know, his backup or a drafted quarterback. I don't think you'd rather play Lamar Jackson than them. But I think in terms of, they're tied to this guy for the next 5 years at that number. Interesting. And we're beating them anyway?
Yeah, that top three defense. And there lies the question, right? Can they keep a top three defense? Because he ain't winning playoff games with a top three defense. Now, if they get worse, is he suddenly going to win playoff games? To be determined. I would put my money on no. So let's pivot here to a little Aaron Rodgers discussion, because that happened Monday, right after the show, as we discussed. Is there something that I am missing?
You're gonna do the same thing that I fucking did. There are people out there that feel like the Jets got swindled.
Yes, that's exactly where I was going.
The idea.
I don't get it.
I think this is so stupid. I said this the whole fucking time to anybody who would listen to me, because Jets fans, and I don't think Jets fans are unhappy about it because Jets fans got Aaron Rodgers. Okay. But I think Jets fans sort of swayed other people into believing something that Jets fans themselves were going to be happy when it didn't come true anyway. Jets fans swore up and down, we have all the leverage. He's going to retire if he doesn't play for us. He said he wants to come here. Now we give them a fourth rounder and we get Aaron Rodgers. And that was never reasonable. The Packers and Aaron Rodgers have been in a standoff for fucking weeks. He went on Pat McAfee and said the Jets 2 months ago now. It was never going to be that. If you look at the fucking Russell Wilson package, if you look at the Matthew Stafford package, if you look at whatever, I don't care that he was going to retire or play for the Jets. They'd be like, fucking retire then, bro. Oh, you come off our books for nothing? I'm actually shocked that the Jets didn't have to give up some sort of marquee player or marquee prospect at least. I thought for sure 2 first rounders, not 2 and 1 conditional.
Yeah.
The idea that they had to like, oh, you should have just poker faced them and got a draft. Like, they did. You did that. You poker faced them for 2 months. And in the end, you caved because the draft was coming and they were like, do it. I think that the fucking Jets got a steal of a deal.
Me too. This is what, like, and I read these draft grades and I see, obviously, you just see things, and I read enough of these websites. The Jets get Aaron Rodgers, a number 15. They were going to have a number 13 pick, a number 15.
Those first swaps don't matter.
Those don't matter. You're swapping 2 spots in the draft. And then a 2023 fifth-round pick. The Packers are going to get that number 13, as we mentioned, a second-round pick, a sixth-round pick, a conditional 2024 second-round pick, which becomes a first if Rodgers plays 65% of the plays. So that's where I'm.
They didn't even get a first and a conditional. They got a second and a second conditional first. To me, now I know there's this like, oh, he should have to play in 2024. That if he plays the snaps, then you get. It's like, guys, like, in what world are you living in where the New York Jets are fucking calling anybody shot? Like, what? You're the Jets. You shoved all in on Aaron Rodgers. You let Mike White go. You're sitting there with Zach Wilson. The Packers are like, oh, you're gonna let Aaron Rodgers retire or sit on our bench, and you're gonna go with Zach. You have a top 3 defense right now. You probably are a playoff team last year if you had literally any quarterback on earth besides Zach Wilson, and you're gonna go with it, Zach Wilson. Go for it. Go for it. The idea that the Jets had any sort of leverage other than the fact that he said he wanted to go there is dumb to me. And anybody, honestly, I just think anybody who's saying that just like doesn't know who the Jets are, doesn't know who the Packers are. The Packers historically are like, we'll be fine. The Jets are historically a dumpster fire who literally needs this guy to come in and save their fucking franchise history. Oh, but our defense is so good and we have weapons. Cool, you missed the playoffs last year because you drafted a horrible quarterback at 2. Fucking 2 years ago. Oh, you're gonna go in with the guy. You're gonna go in with the guy who the entire locker room hates. Your whole team is tweeting, "We're getting Aaron Rodgers."
I mean, Zach Wilson
and
truly.
You guys have leverage.
Yeah.
I think anybody. It's kind of nerd. It's kind of football nerd guy who's like, well, where else was he going to go? You should have held out for a conditional and a conditional. Literally, the Packers were like, fuck you, we'll bench him.
Yeah.
We have Jordan Love. You have Zach Wilson. Somebody will come a-calling. The draft will come. Somebody won't get the quarterback they want. Somebody will whatever. Aaron Rodgers says he was going to play for the fucking... says he's only going to play for the Jets. I call bullshit. Aaron Rodgers also signed a deal with us saying he was going to play for the fucking Packers. Aaron Rodgers also said he was vaccinated. Aaron Rodgers says a lot of fucking shit.
I think that with that division, though, well, it's going to be interesting, right? Because obviously the Bills have won the last few years. The Dolphins, to me, are like a novelty. I'm not. That offense was great and cool, and you got the young coach. Defensive NFL coaches figure it out. They're too smart. There's too much game film. There's too much studying. They figure it out. So, I'm putting 0 into the Dolphins winning that division. I'm just going to say it. To me, that division is now Jets-Bills. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
And I'm disregarding the Patriots as well. And also, it's quarterback-driven league. We say it time and time again. One guy is literally weekend at Bernie's. Tua. You got Mac Jones in New England, who's And then you got Aaron Rodgers.
Mac and cheese.
What's that?
Mac and cheese up in New England. Just a fucking pound of Annie's white cheddar.
I do like mac and cheese, though. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. It's delicious, but if you served it to me as a meal, I'd be like, as a meal?
Yeah, that's a good point.
As a side,
It's a nice side.
You making pork chops? Little Annie's Mac on the side?
Nice little side piece.
And you go, no, our entree today is some white cheddar shells. That's Mac Jones.
Without hot sauce. You ever put hot sauce on mac and cheese?
I'm not fucking. No, I don't even want it.
No?
Not interested. No.
No hot sauce on mac and cheese?
Absolutely not.
I've turned into like hot sauce on a lot of things. You'd be like, hot sauce.
Hillary Clinton, you keep it in your purse?
No, I don't. I don't keep it in my purse. I don't own a purse, for the record. Not yet.
I'll tell you the boldest fucking, I've heard that's a real fucking white girl thing. Like, I keep hot sauce in my purse. I have taste. I keep hot sauce in my purse. I'll take it one step further. I saw a guy with a Tapatio keychain. It was the thing screwed onto his keychain. He had hot sauce on his keys, dog. I was like, that is fucking legit. Because you can keep a lot of shit in your purse. Women keep shit in their purse. They don't fucking need. Men go out, wallet, keys, cell phone.
Bro, they sell hot sauce like belt holsters. Did you know that?
Yeah.
You like walking into a restaurant like you're a cowboy with your belt buckle and some hot sauce. Real quick, get this out of the way before we move on. Have to give a shout out to Jerry Springer. Rest in peace. Passed today. Former Jerry. Former city councilman, former mayor of my city, former 9-year news anchor, former having checks bounced to prostitutes as he's a member of city council.
Of course, former white trash fight referee.
I did read something interesting, which I didn't know about him. He was born in a bunker in England during a World War II raid.
Wow.
And his family immigrated to Queens when he was 4.
Wow. So Jerry was never being president. That's why he had to top out at mayor and then white trash.
He ran for governor.
Yeah.
In Ohio as well. Yeah. Come on, man. Tell me you didn't love watching little Jerry Springer in the 90s.
I mean, yeah, it got old fast, but like, you remember when he made the leap? When Springer wasn't always like peak Springer, people brawling. It happened a couple times, and then he was like, a light bulb went off. He was like, every day, forever. I'm gonna make our fucking security guard famous. He'll have a show.
It's truly amazing.
It's everybody on social media these days. They find their fucking niche, and they're like, that's it. I'm gonna pound the fuck out of this. Jerry was the original. He was like, yo. We did a lot of ratings when that one chick smacked the shit out of the other girl.
I was watching some highlights.
My thing was always like, how do you not know when you show up? And they're like, you're coming to Chicago or wherever he taped.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden your fucking girlfriend was there and she was some dude she was fucking. They run out of the back. They didn't even remember that where they wouldn't even sit down and have a conversation about it.
It's scripted. Like it was all.
I'm sure it got to that point for sure.
Like how many, like, how much of it was actors or fake?
I mean, I definitely think it was, it like morphed over the years.
The security guard ended up getting his own talk show. Talk about taking the breadcrumbs, man. Anyway, had to get that out of the way.
We have this comment from Jack Smith, is it? He said, Andy, you were wrong about Jerry Springer. Man, they're out for us today. Said he'd live to be 80. You were fucking wrong.
I want to know what we were wrong about Lamar. I
legit no follow-up comment.
I legit want to know. Like, was it that I didn't think anybody was going to sign him for that? I mean, maybe, yeah, maybe I said that. Then I'm wrong there.
But we weren't wrong. We said no one's giving $200 million guaranteed. We didn't we? I mean, we were saying a couple episodes ago. This isn't even going back months and months and months. We were just saying a couple episodes ago. It's all about that he wants, you paid Daniel Jones this much and you pay Bill. Yeah, but he wants it guaranteed and he can't stay on the field. We said that like 3 episodes ago.
Yeah.
They didn't give him his $200 million guaranteed.
Still gave him $185 million.
And honestly, that's the thing. we'll see if we're wrong about, like, we both disagree on the deal now. We'll see if we're wrong about that. You say he doesn't play in the Super Bowl. I say he doesn't play in the Super Bowl. Let me add one more to you. Does Aaron Rodgers play in the Super Bowl?
I'm going to say no.
I'm going to say no as well.
But I like Aaron Rodgers' chances better this year.
You like Aaron Rodgers' chances better this year than Lamar Jackson's chances in his career?
Yes.
I mean, I'm kind of right there with you, at least as a starter. I mean, you could see, like, I don't want some fucking comment in our YouTube thing in 2027 when Lamar Jackson comes in to run the option behind fucking Brock Purdy or something like that. And they're like, he's in the Super Bowl. He's in the Super Bowl.
So, like, my thing is, I've kind of stuck by this for a while. I think you got to give a guy like 4 to 5 years as a quarterback. And maybe that's even too long. We got a call about that. Like if you see potential, and that's kind of where I'm at with Lamar. Like, dude, we've seen you for this many years. It's equated to one playoff win. Like, we know who you are. Which I'm going to segue. We'll get back to NFL draft stuff later in the show. We got lots of calls on it. But I want to segue into NBA talking about the Bucks. Like, we know who you are, bud, their coach. And you're not a good coach, and you need to be fired. Like, that's my thing. We've had enough years of what I would call choke jobs, meltdowns. They've been a number 1 seed 3 times since 2019. 3 times.
They also won a championship.
They did. They won a title.
But like so many coaches out there, you know, when you have the best player and you win a title, especially in the NBA, it's way different than the NFL. It's way different than Major League Baseball. You have the best player in the league at the time, or a top 3 probably in considering all around. You know, 1 isn't really like, you're like, okay, you won 1. Like, they didn't play in the finals all 3 of those years. It's
That's
like
what I'm saying.
If you you didn't play in the Eastern Conference Finals. They didn't like. Obviously, we have a Giannis injury in this series, which changed it from the get-go. But last night, I'm watching the game. I'm rooting for. Do you know the answer, Andy?
I'm rooting for the Heat.
So when you're watching last night, you're rooting for the Heat?
I think I like this Jimmy Butler thing, which we'll discuss, is like
last night I'm watching, I'm rooting for the Bucks. And the reason I'm rooting for the Bucks is now we're in. The Knicks are in. Now I want game 7. I want chair fights. I want Jerry. I want Jimmy to hit Giannis with a chair. I want Bam to fucking slip and fall and break an elbow, but not real, just, a little ding it up. I want this thing. I want game 7 to go 15 overtimes. So I'm rooting for the Bucks. Now I'm enjoying watching Jimmy Butler do Jimmy Butler things. And like you said, we'll come back to that, but I'm rooting for the Bucks down the stretch. And you have 2 horrific situations. 1, you have a timeout left at the end of overtime, at the end of regulation. They don't call timeout and advance the ball. I don't know why. I mean, you look at the shot Butler got off even. That was with 3 seconds. They throw a lob. He throws it up. So that play right there, that same play could have been done in the 0.5 seconds you have left.
Yeah. I don't understand how this play happens, for the record.
Well, Jimmy Butler shoves the guys when he's in the air.
Well, look, yeah, you could definitely call an offensive
Kyle
foul.
Rudolph offensive foul in Kirk Cousins' 1 playoff victory.
But
he shoves him away. Look at it. Yeah, that's how that happens. Now, crazy shot that you still have to make after you shove a guy.
Yeah.
But that's, when you say, how did it happen? That's how it happened. So there's that. But we're talking about Budenholzer, and just like unacceptable. And then some reason during the NBA on TNT post game, right as they're asking him that, they cut away. I didn't like look for the answer today. I can't imagine. There is no answer. There's no acceptable answer. And then you have the end of overtime when I'll tell you what, if they don't fire him, they're insane. If they do fire him, he can coach, I don't know, North Carolina next year or whatever, because it was the end of every college basketball game I've ever watched. That's how you know it was a terrible end of the game. It was every single March Madness game I've ever watched ending. And that's how you know it's bad. Because in the NBA, that's not how games end. You're like, dude, you have something.
Get a shot.
The dribbling, no one knows who to give the ball to. And then, like, even the other day, we talked about De'Aaron Fox. Like, they had a plan. It was a terrible plan. Give it to your best player and hope for the best. But that is a plan. This was no plan. This was the end of this is the end of, Wichita State, Siena in the fucking first round.
Well, he should have passed it. Connaughton's actually open down low, and he misses that. And then he misses, dude, just shoot a little raindrop.
Who?
On the final play.
Yeah.
Grayson Allen.
Yeah, but fuck it. Before that even.
No, I know, but I don't understand how he doesn't shoot it. Like, dude, you got to take a shot.
He's probably like, why the fuck do I have the ball?
Yeah.
I'm Grayson Allen. Why did you just even give me the ball? The shot should have been taken fucking before he got the ball.
Well, and also, this is on the coach. During the regular season, the Bucks were 51-3 when leading after the third quarter. They just lost back-to-back games with a double-digit lead after the third quarter.
Yeah.
So think about that. Like, when you have epic collapses like that, I always put that on coaching.
Well, yeah. But just forget, how about the end of regulation? Again, you've got a timeout. They also had a timeout in overtime.
Why is he not calling timeouts?
Because he's a fucking clown. Congratulations to Becky Hammon, next coach of the fucking Bucks.
So I have a cross sports comp here.
Okay.
Same town. I think the Bucks, dude, they're eerily similar to the Mike McCarthy Packers, man. You have a star, Giannis, Aaron Rodgers.
I think we know.
Let me break it down here. You win one title. I'm saying you win one title. You have a team that's going to be a number one seed all these times or a very high seed. The expectation is title or bust. You've won one. The Bucks in the like mid 2000s Packers.
Well, and also like learn a lesson from that. Like how many times you have to get coached out of it to give up on the guy. Because if you go, oh, well, we'll win a title with him, and then 10 years from now you finally give up, now you're in the Aaron Rodgers situation, right? He's a little older, and now we got to fucking convince him to stay and pay him to stay and whatever. He's going to want to leave.
Yeah.
It is Wisconsin after all.
I really do see a huge similarity between those two organizations. I want to play what Giannis said after the game.
Is this the failure clip?
Yeah, because I think like there's a lot to this, and I want to play it because I've actually thought about it a lot today, and how do I feel? I was trying to kind of navigate my thoughts on it, but this is what he said when asked by a reporter if this year was a failure.
Oh my God. Okay, because I'm not that up. You asked me the same question last year, Eric. Okay, do you get a promotion every year on your job? No, right? So every year you work is a failure. Yes or no? No. Every year you work towards something, towards a goal, right? Which is to get a promotion, to be able to take care of your family, to be able, I don't know, provide the house for them or take care of your parents. You work towards a goal. It's not a failure. It's steps to success. you know. And if you've never, I don't want to make it personal. So there's always steps to it, you know. Michael Jordan played 15 years, won 6 championships. The other 9 years was a failure. That's what you're telling me. No, I'm asking you a question. Yes or no? Okay, exactly. So why you asking me that question? It's a wrong question. There's no failure in sports. You know, there's good days, bad days. Some days you are able to be successful. Some days you're not. Some days it's your turn. Some days it's not your turn. And that's what sports is about. You don't always win. Some other people's gonna win. And this year, somebody else is gonna win. Simple as that. We're gonna come back next year, try to be better, try to build good habits, try to play better, not have a 10-day stretch with playing bad basketball, you know, and hopefully we can win a championship. So 50 years from 1971 to 2021 that we didn't win a championship, it was 50 years of failures? No, it was not. It was steps to it, you know, and we were able to win one. Hopefully we can win another one.
First of all, I like that Giannis is now a character from Ted Lasso. I like that. Trent Krim, the Independent. Was this a failure? Hey, what do you mean a failure? First of all, I love his answer. I think he's absolutely right. And I disagree that there's not failures in sports. There is failures in sports, but I don't think being the 1 seed, having an injury that derails the beginning of the series, gives the other team confidence, gives Jimmy Butler this, you know, you boost this crazy thing that's exploding in front of our eyes, this playoff Butler. You know, that you give that a little life. You give that a, you know, there's a window of opportunity, and in like, you know, like so many coaches say, like, credit to the Heat, you know, like they saw a wounded animal and they fucking attacked it. So, you know, if next year coming off the 1 seed, the Bucks finish 12th in the East, don't make the playoffs, I think you can say, was this year a failure? Yeah, it was. It was a failure. But I don't think not winning a championship is a failure. And I don't necessarily think just because they lost in the first round, it's a failure. Maybe in some years it would be. But this is you got caught in a very specific situation. You gave them a window with this injury, and they fucking took it. They kicked the window open.
To me, it's not like clear. It's not too clear cut, right? Like that's kind of a loaded question. Failure. It depends on how you view it. Like, I have no problem with someone saying, yes, we were the number 1 seed. We became the 6th number 1 seed in the history of the NBA playoffs to lose to an 8. That's a failure. Like, I have no problem with somebody saying that. The definition of failure is lack of success, right? But I also understand, hey, we were a 1 seed. We had the best record in the NBA. I can counter that. That's not failing. I've never seen Giannis like that before, though. It obviously bothered him.
Well, I think, you know, and that's why I said he became like a Ted Lasso character. I like that he's talking to Eric. He remembers Eric asked him the same question last year. Like, I think that, you know, again, every situation has to be looked at as, you know, all the elements of it. You know, the Kings, let's say the Kings lose to the Warriors. This is a 3-6 series.
Yeah.
It's a failure? Their season's a failure? No, because they're the Kings. They haven't fucking been there. In fact, we have said it's a success already. You have to start somewhere. You have to get your playoff experience. You have to know that you can go up in a 6 or 7 game series against what was, you know, a mini dynasty. It's not a failure. So, you know, if the Bucks, if it wasn't the injury and it wasn't, this series didn't play out the way it was, like, you know, let me ask you something. If that series had gone 7, is it a different story?
I don't know. It's a good question. I mean, again, it's only happened now 5 times before this time. So this is only the 6th
but how
time.
many of those 5 times was a top 5 player in the league on the other team and then hurt for part of the series?
One of those times was Derrick Rose against the Sixers getting knocked out. Right.
The Nuggets.
I would call this and the this is like one of the biggest upsets I've seen. I mean, we have the Sonics, Nuggets, right? What, 94 with Sean Kemp?
I think that was a 5-game series.
It's a good point. It was a 5-game series. By the way, I think we have some clarification real quick, and then we're going to come back to the NBA stuff. I just got a DM on my personal account. I think people are coming at me saying nobody wanted Lamar was a horrible take. I guess I said that. I kind of stand by that. Nobody wanted to trade for him for that money. No,
clearly.
So guys, you guys can come at me for that.
Hold on. Andy, I'm taking one for you here because here's the thing. This happens to me all the fucking time. And would I prefer if every once in a while somebody came at fucking Ruther? Sure. But they're doing exactly to you what they always do to me. And first of all, it's fucking stupid and wrong because you've said that a million times since the Ravens fucking franchise tagged him. So the idea that the Ravens didn't have to franchise tag him. If they didn't want him, they couldn't have him. We're working under the assumption that the Ravens fucking want him. You fucking idiots. Or else he wouldn't be on the goddamn team. They franchise tagged him. They wanted him. They didn't want him at the money he wanted. So they gave people the opportunity to pursue him, and no one wanted him. So then they got him for $14 million at least, less than the reported amount he was demanding. Guaranteed. Literally, he signed for less than $200 million guaranteed because no one wanted him, except for the team he was contractually obligated to play for.
Yeah, I think that's important. Like, nobody wanted him for that money. And that's all I've said all along.
I'll take Lamar Jackson to play tailback for the fucking Giants today.
Yeah.
For $11 an hour. The question has never been, we think Lamar Jackson should be out of football.
Yeah, no.
It's he wants more than he's worth. And he proved that. Because he didn't, the reports are out there. Like, if we're going to pretend that like, oh, that was just hearsay. That was just a fucking, then what is this? He hasn't put pen to paper yet. He's not. This isn't signed. This is about a done a deal as fucking Correa to the Giants or Correa to the Mets. Until you sign, it ain't done. So right now, we're going on Ian Rappaport's word about the fucking terms of the deal. The same way we went on the word of Ian Rappaport that he turned down 200 and fucking whatever million and however much guaranteed because he wanted 200 million guaranteed. He didn't get it because no one wanted to give it to him. No one wanted him at that price. The end. If you guys are going to fucking listen to this show, listen to it. You don't get to pick and choose what things you want us to have said, which is a very frustrating part of fucking dealing with you guys.
Well, and I want to add, I still do think he's an idiot for not having an agent. Like I'm looking, that's part of the DM, like mocking me. Yeah, I call him an idiot for not having an agent, and I still call him an idiot for not having an agent. You know, he ended up with the Ravens, cool, because nobody wanted to pay him that money. Like that's why this happened. And the Ravens probably felt they were in a bad spot because they had no other options. And this is how it happened.
Let me ask anybody who's out there who's like, if somebody's out there and thinks this is a good deal for the Ravens, good. Great for you. I don't think it is. If you think it is, good. But if this was going back and forth all fucking offseason and you think it's a good deal for the Ravens, then the Ravens won, didn't they? The quarterback and the team are at fucking odds. He's talking about sitting out. He's talking about wanting fucking trades. And the Ravens are happy with the deal they fucking did, and you're happy with the deal they did, then they won. How about this? He wanted $200 million guaranteed. He can't call other teams. Like, Lamar Jackson can't call the fucking Broncos or the Cardinals or whatever. It's illegal. An agent can do that. Hey, man, I'm calling you about this wide receiver we got. Also, how about Lamar Jackson? What do you think? Is that, 8? 8. Right? So, like, I'm not saying you have to have an agent, but I'm saying you should have an agent if you're going to do this.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Look, he got his deal. Good for him. And again, we'll watch it play out, and we'll see.
Well, no one wanted him. I stand already under contract with. What do you?
I stand by what I said, and I'm also going to stand by this. I'm just going to say it. I'll be shocked if Lamar, guys, if he plays the next 2 seasons. I would be shocked if he plays all 17 games the next 2 seasons.
How about this?
I'll be shocked.
You said it, and then I repeated it. We don't think Lamar Jackson will play in a fucking Super Bowl. Now, guys, you can clip that and fucking play it back for us and say we were wrong when he does. And
Sure.
You might have that opportunity.
Yeah.
But saying, LOL, you guys said no one wanted him. Meanwhile, teams like the fucking Falcons who don't have a quarterback were like, we're good. And then he ended up taking less money than he wanted from the team he's already under contract with, who he was trying to get traded from, and said he was going to sit out on the franchise tag. You were wrong. We were right.
Look, it is what it is. You guys can get all worked up. I don't.
I'm getting worked up because I fucking can't stand when people don't goddamn listen.
Well, welcome to 2023. But like, my thing is, again, I stand by everything I said, and that's fine. At the end of the day, good for him personally. Like, he's making a lot of money. He's got generational wealth. Dude, I don't think you play in a Super Bowl, and that's fine. Moving on. Jimmy Butler. He has played in the Super Bowl for basketball. He's been to the finals. He is absolutely on fire. And I love this. Here's the thing about Jimmy Butler. I love watching him play because I don't think anybody saw this.
Well, we've seen it before.
But my point is, even take it back a step. He was going through all these teams, and he's a headache, and he's a problem. And then Pat Riley gets him down to Miami, like he always does. He pulls the right strings, and he finds the right pieces. And I say I was rooting for them because I like his game, man. I like watching him play.
I'm going to say a couple things about Jimmy Butler. First thing is, I was listening to Bill Simmons today, and I didn't get through his whole episode, so I don't know where they settled on this. But at one point, they were like, what's the comp here?
Yeah,
like,
good question.
Have we ever seen this before? And the best that the guys who were talking about could come up with, and I think it's a horrible one, but they were saying Kawhi, because Kawhi made his name in the playoffs and whatever.
And they both play D.
They both play D and whatever. Okay. I think that's a horrible comparison. One guy made his name by being the league MVP or being the finals MVP, then leaving and making another finals, being a finals MVP, like on a totally different kind of team and whatever. And Kawhi also took those MVP, the first finals MVP, and became one of the best players in the league following it. And Jimmy Butler seemingly only does this during the playoffs. Now, he has elite ability and he has big games from time to time, but we don't see the consistency. And I'm sitting there with a now Heat Knicks series upon us. And to me, the comp is obvious. Latrell Sprewell. Tons of fucking potential. Crazy good upside. Crazy big games on his first team. Has a little turmoil. Leaves. Goes to another team. Specifically excels in the playoffs and in these big games. Now, not to the level that we're seeing, but with the consistency, but also different fucking era of basketball, as we've already talked. Like, guys weren't scoring, you didn't have 3 guys per playoffs have 50-point games, 3 guys per round. The 55-point game now is the 40-point game then. But wasn't that guy all year, every year, even on the Knicks. A lot of times it was like, oh, Allen Houston's the better player. Oh, we're built around this. But when push comes to shove, Latrell Sprewell had that dog in him. He'd get going. He'd start dunking on people. He'd hang on the rim. He'd be screaming. He'd be fucking, and then you'd be like, dude, you're not even a really good 3-point shooter. And he's like, oh, I am today. Today I am. And that's what Jimmy Butler does. Jimmy Butler's not a good 3-point shooter. But he wakes up some days, he goes, today I am. The best part of waking up is fucking Folgers in your cup. I feel good today. I feel dangerous.
I think he's a much better version, though.
I mean, again, it's a different era in terms of scoring. I think he's certainly a better defender, and he certainly has the ability, but like, to me, that's what it is. It's the same kind of guy. It's like he couldn't do it day in and day out, even after he'd already done it. Like this year, the Heat were not good.
But it's crazy to me when I say no one saw this coming. Like, I know he's done this before. He's in what, his 12th, 13th season? My point is he's no spring chicken. Like, if you really look at the youthful game, I mean, it's a young man's game, the NBA, right? Like, these are guys in their early 20s. You become a star at that age. He did what? How many years in college? My point is, like, he's in his early 30s. He's doing this. I don't think most people saw him dropping 56, following that up with what, 40, 42.
Right.
Big shot after big shot, like you're saying. He's not a 3-point shooter. Draining threes, making the contested shots, getting the steals, getting the blocks. And he's just like cool and calm. I don't know. He always had this rep that he was a total head case and all this stuff. And I guess I didn't know enough about him. And he obviously bounced from team to team. And then he comes to Miami and he just fits.
Well, this is the second part of my Jimmy Butler thing, which is 3 days ago. I'm like, dude, the Knicks are going to fucking have a home. The Knicks are going to get through the Cavs. They're going to be the home team in a second round against the Heat, a fucking rivalry team with us, but a team that's like going to sneak through the Bucks because of a fucking Giannis injury. Bring it on. Like, I was like excited. I went from being like, oh, this will be a good year for the Knicks. We're going to get boat raced by the Bucks in round 2 to, holy shit, we're going to play in the Eastern Conference Finals because Giannis is out, to Giannis is back and scoring 38 and Jimmy Butler's manhandling the Bucks by himself. And now I've got to deal with, I have a Heat rivalry, fucking all the Pat Riley shit. They have a better coach. Pat Riley's probably fucking in practice with a whiteboard right now. Like, he fucking cares. Like, Pat Riley is coaching this team when it comes to the Knicks. Like, he is at practice today. Jimmy Butler losing his mind. Like, now all of a sudden I went from being like, we're going to get our ass kicked by the Bucks to we're going to fucking be in the Eastern Conference Finals to like, fuck, I thought we would lose in the second round, and now I'm going to be devastated if we lose in the second round to the fucking team that always fucking was a thorn in our side, to our former fucking coach who just can't stop putting it together. Like, I'm scared as fuck now. And it's 3 days ago, I was like, the Heat we're not good this year. The Heat were not good this year. They just weren't. They were not a good team. And now it's like, well, you get hot at the right fucking time.
Yeah.
Now, would I rather play this Heat team with Jimmy Butler doing Himmy Butler things? Playoff Jimmy buckets? Would I rather play them than a fully healthy Bucks team? Yeah, I'd rather play the Heat. I'd rather have the home games. I'd rather game 1 this Sunday in the Garden. Game 7 potentially in the Garden. But all of a sudden, I'm not like, we have a path to the NBA Finals. I'm like, motherfucker. You know how much I'd rather the Knicks got manhandled by the Bucks in round 2 than Jimmy Butler go to the Garden in a game 7 and do what he did to the fucking Bucks last night. I'll slit my fucking throat. I can't handle it. I love Pat Riley. I've never faulted him for leaving, but god damn if I don't want to fucking lose to this goddamn Heat team that fucking has tormented me for 25 years.
I'd argue that the Heat, and they're kind of, because of LeBron and Bosh and Wade, there's that whole era of the Heat. But I'd argue they are one of the most underrated franchises.
Well, since Pat Riley got there.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like since Pat Riley.
And again, Pat Riley is probably the most underrated coach / exec in NBA history.
100%. And that's what I'm saying. Like my comp for them would be like a Steelers. Like, dude, you don't want to count them out. Like, like they're going to be there. The thing about the Pat Riley era teams, and you've seen this in the last 2 games, and I know the guys on TNT were talking about this last night, they always play tough. Like, even when they're down, that kind of mentality, which I think he brings, and obviously Spoelstra is the coach, and he's brought it as well. Like, they're never down.
And I think the thing about Spoelstra is, like, I went a long time with, like, not thinking Spoelstra was that good, but Spoelstra is everything that Budenholzer should be, which is like, you were there under a great, he was there under Pop, then he wins. It's like, and now you're worse. It's like, oh, you haven't been to fucking, you haven't been to your fucking trainer lately, so you're getting worse. The thing about Spoelstra is there was a time, I think early in Spoelstra's career, where he had the best guys and they achieved, but he like learned along with them. And he just continues to get better as a coach. And you don't see that from a lot of fucking guys. I mean, you don't see it from the Doc Rivers. You don't see it from the fucking Budenholzers. You don't see it from there's not a lot of guys out there. Spoelstra to me is like, I don't necessarily think saying he was like overrated when they were winning championships with LeBron and Wade and Bosh is really like offensive looking back. But at the same time, I don't think he's overrated in like what he could become, because I think he's like a far better coach now. Now he's done it with teams that shouldn't have gotten there.
Yeah.
And you have one of the greatest coaches and executives and whatever, like still pulling the strings, but like, that's all part of it.
Sure.
That's all part of it. Like, yeah, take that, have that relationship, have the thing where it's not like, oh, he's the fucking GM and I'm the, like.
Well, I mean, look, as we peek ahead to that series, it has a great potential for a 7-game series.
Let's peek, Andy. Let me do something right now. Let's talk about peek ahead to the things that are already settled and the things that are soon to be settled. I'm going to go in order of least to most intriguing, in my opinion. The least intriguing series to me from a historic NBA standpoint, from what the franchises mean, for what they mean to each other, for what their players are, the least intriguing potential second round series is the soon to be 3-time NBA MVP versus the new look Suns with Kevin Durant, who is for once honestly not the alpha on his team. When he joined the Warriors, he was like, I'm the guy. I get the last shot. Now, dude, Booker is balling right now. Fucking balling. Plus, you got the Chris Paul. You got Ayton against the 1 seed. But that's a banana series in any other fucking year. I think it's the 4th most interesting. 3rd most interesting. 2 historic NBA franchises in Boston and Philly. 80s battles, 2 Northeast cities that have this like not New York chip on their shoulder, where they got their own accents, they got their own food, they got their own racism, they got their own fucking shithead fan bases. But they are like, when you think of like the NBA, I know there's no like core 7 or whatever, original 7 like the NHL, but if there were, Celtics, Sixers, Knicks, like, you got, and they're the 2-3 series. They have 2 guys who are MVP candidates. Like, that's a lot. That's a lot happening right there. Then you go Knicks, Heat. I honestly, last 25 years, great NBA rivalry, all the Pat Riley history. Jeff Van Gundy clipped onto Alonzo Mourning's leg like a fucking, koala bear. You got the fights, the PJ Brown, you got the fucking, all of it.
Yeah.
The new look Knicks, back to defense, Thibodeau holding teams under 80 points. Like, this has a series, like the 2 teams that could play a series that closely resembles their series that they used to play in the 90s and the early 2000s. To steal a fucking phrase from our good buddy Damo, you like rivalry, guy? This is a good one. Like, and then again, it's not locked up, but a Lakers, Warriors, LeBron, Warriors, Steph, LeBron, all like, what? The 4 series we're looking at in the second round, when the NBA TV deal is up in 2025, the second round is going to be the South Park jizz gif with money. Adam Silver is going to be jizzing money on himself this round. Not to add to the fact, I don't know if you saw it, but Warriors, Kings, first round NBA ratings. Highest first round NBA rated game since the 2002 Lakers Trailblazers.
Which game? I'm just curious.
Of the Kings series. I don't know if it was game 1. It was probably the first game that was on a weekend. That was fucking Warriors Kings.
I see what you're saying. I was going to say, I'm curious that you would put, I guess, because of the history of potential Lakers Warriors, as much. You're right. That's probably the most interesting.
I mean, I'm talking about from a global NBA standpoint. A LeBron AD LA Lakers team versus the mini dynasty Warriors, Steph, Clay, Draymond, the history between those players and LeBron, let alone the team. Like, now it's the LeBron team, but that team is the Lakers. To me, that's like huge. But again, I think each one of these series is a fucking huge deal.
Do you think the Lakers win that series?
The Memphis series?
Yeah, Memphis series.
Yeah, I do. And I'll tell you why. I think that LeBron is doing this thing, which, I mean, he didn't shoot well last game.
No, it's terrible.
Shot terribly. But LeBron's doing this thing where he is letting the team kind of run, and he like picks his spots. And we saw obviously in the end of the game the other day where he's making the big shot and he's taking over in overtime. He's getting the N1 and he's grabbing 20 rebounds. He's doing his thing. He's really picking his spots. And I think it got dangerous last night. It's like, dude, pick your spots now. Like, get this series over with. Get your fucking rest. But as poorly as he's shooting, I don't think I think with the exception of the end of game, what was that? Game 4. We haven't seen LeBron just straight up go, I have to turn it on right now. Like, I think he's hesitating turning it on for a whole game. He's fucking 38. He's got 4 rounds of this playoffs in front of him if he wants to win a championship. But I think when push comes to shove, I'm not betting against LeBron James turning it on against a Memphis team that's down a couple bigs. They can't guard the rim. I think he's just trying to – I think LeBron James is smartly and also putting himself in a weird position where it like may cost him a game or two here and there. But I think he's trying to lead this team in a way where they can win a championship. And if that means that he has to let these guys do a little bit more now so that they can do more as they move on. I mean, maybe I'm giving the guy too much credit. I think last game, obviously if he hits 3 of his 9 threes instead of 1 of his 9, like it's a different game. But I think he's trying to, you've even heard him talk about it in the end of games. Like, I'm trying to be the X's and O's guy. I'm trying to like lead these guys. I'm trying to tell them, you do this, I do this, blah, 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 blah. And we saw it at the end of game 4. He's like, all right, fine, fuck it. I'll take the ball. Fine. I'll hit an insanely fucking touch high off the glass over the fucking leading shot blocker for the win. Go into overtime. Like I still think he has that, but also I don't think like 32-year-old LeBron James, he's just like, oh, I'll just do it for the next 20 games.
I don't have much faith in the Lakers if they advance.
In them beating a Warriors team? Or
I go like 70-30, 70 on Lakers. I'm sorry, Warriors.
70-30 Warriors if the Lakers get through.
Yeah.
But you're not convinced. You're not wholly convinced, or else you wouldn't have asked it, that the Lakers get through this round.
I'm not fully convinced.
But you are fully convinced that the Warriors get through this round?
I am.
What's the difference there?
I just think experience of the Warriors, they're a more rounded team. They're deeper. Some of these guys in the league, like I don't know what to expect, man, from some of these guys in the league. I don't even know what to expect from Anthony Davis.
Well, that was what I was going to say. I mean, that's actually the guy that you don't know what to expect from game in and game out.
Like, I still never been able to figure him out.
But I think that's part of the LeBron thing. That's why, like, I mean, I don't think I'm giving him too much credit because I think it's pretty obvious it's what he's doing. But like, I think he knows they need Anthony Davis to be great for them to win a championship. So I think LeBron James starts every game going like, let's get Anthony Davis going. If you watch the games, the amount of times where he's like pointing to other guys to like throw it into the fucking post. Like, I think he knows it's important to get Anthony Davis going. And then sometimes Anthony Davis just refuses to get going and he's like, fine, fuck it.
I also think age is somewhat showing on LeBron. I know what you're saying, and I don't know if I fully agree. I just think, like, dude, you're 38, man. Like,
well, obviously, age is showing. I mean, he's 38.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Michael Jordan was cashing checks for the Wizards at 38.
There's your drink. There's your Michael Jordan dig. That should be part of the drinking game.
Did you see the clip I put up? By the way, a great scene in Dave on FX last night. I put it up on the Dirty Sports.
I saw it.
Twitter and Instagram and TikTok. It was a great fucking scene. Gate is crying, talking about being raised in the 90s by fucking things.
Somebody left a call about the Jordan conspiracy.
Which Jordan conspiracy?
Like, somebody's like, dude, how deep do you? It's like, how deep do we think? Here, I'll just play. It's 57 seconds.
Okay.
ESPN, you know what it is, your boy SF Perpez. I need to know, how is it that you think that it actually goes down when it goes down to like the Michael Jordan conspiracy videos, or like when they do the documentary and all the other players have to like sit down and tell them stories. Granted, most of them probably haven't, right? But like everybody got, like, you have to sit them down and be like, hey, okay, Isaiah, or hey, fill in the blank. You have to tell the story, remember? Or do they just film them 30 hours and just kind of clip that 30 minutes? You guys are a little bit more in the industry than Woody Woo, regular like me would. But yeah, something about that always seems fishy. Same thing when I try to tell niggas about the Derek Jeter shit, and then nobody believes it's just propaganda. I'm like, yo, technically he's like not really that good of a shortstop, but I don't know. I just want to see how deep of a cut do you think that they actually get into the situation. God bless y'all. Peace.
I mean, here's the thing. Like, I am like more intrigued at this point by. I never thought about like the athlete spins until like probably in the last 5 years, until like you really, really see it. But like, I don't think propaganda, like, I don't think that's crazy to call this stuff propaganda.
Well, for sure. First of all, it's not crazy. Second of all, okay. So in the early 2000s, the league had a number of stars, way more stars that were like sort of on the same level of like the Shaq and the Kobe and the KG and the Chris Webber and like think about the Rasheed Wallace Trailblazers. Like, you look at like teams like that. The East
Tracy
had
McGrady.
Yeah, the East had guys, Tracy McGrady, all that. And you're telling me that was when the league started fixing games so that their big star in the Lakers could get to the NBA Finals instead of the Sacramento Kings? Meanwhile, in the 90s, you had one guy who's head and shoulders more important in the league than any single other player on earth. And they weren't fucking fixing games for him. They weren't giving him calls. They weren't, oh, Michael Jordan got there, never lost. Never lost. The Lakers, they fixed games for the Lakers. They wanted to hoist up Shaq and Kobe. Now, am I saying that the NBA fixed games for the Bulls? Yeah, I am. That's what I'm saying, actually. But my point is about this. The Michael Jordan propaganda in the NBA is very similar to the military-industrial complex's propaganda about fucking support the troops. You do it enough, you actually have to, you can stop doing it because people do it for you. You don't have to, like, Jeremy Roenick isn't getting a directive from somebody to make up a Michael Jordan story. He's doing it on his own. He's doing it on his own. The same way you go to an airport and they're like, the military guys in uniform get on the plane first. And I'm the one guy going like, why? What the fuck are we talking about here? I got up the fucking second my fucking Southwest check-in was due. I hit the button the second thing, and I got A3. And now this asshole gets on, and you're like, and people are like, yeah, man, respect the fucking troops. Respect the fucking troops. And I'm like, dude, they've flown so many fucking stealth bombers over your football games, and they've fucking, the CBS Evening News has shown a fucking Memorial Day thing and a Veterans Day thing and D-Day thing every year. They don't even have to do it anymore. Now people just show up to ballparks, and I sit on my ass during the fucking third inning when the Dodgers have a fucking Marine. Today's Marine of the game, and I go, and then people go, stand up, you motherfucker. I go, what the fuck do you care?
Well, it's more, you know, I call a lot of that stuff like faux patriotism.
But it's the propaganda.
Yeah, no, I'm saying that's what I'm saying.
That convinces them that they have to do it.
Well, that's my point of like, hey, not many people think when that's going on, not many people at the stadium think, hey, what's a better way to support these people? And we could talk to Justin Wood about this. It's like with like all the homeless vets, right? It's like, hey, PTSD, you know how you can
mental illness, the VA.
Yeah, you know how we can better support these people? Not honoring them with applause at a third inning of a game, actually taking care of them, like actually doing
or the
something.
$60,000 a second or whatever it is for the stealth bomber to fly over the Milwaukee Brewer Stadium with the fucking roof closed.
Put it in the VA.
Right. But forget that. That's a sort of a side note.
But anyway, it's
the bottom line is there's some propaganda campaigns are so successful that then people start doing it for you. Jeremy Roenick is just doing it like Nike didn't tell him to do that, but Nike planted the seed. And the NBA on NBC planted the seed, and ESPN planted the seed, and The Last Dance planted the seed. And now it's, if I want like social media clicks, like I'm going to take that story about the time me and Michael Jordan played 9 holes together and then he left and turned it into we played 75 holes together. He drank 40 beers and then he played in a fictional game against the Cavaliers that never occurred.
Well, that's my point. That's why I said last episode, it's to be a part of the club. Like, hey, man, I'm a part of the cool Michael Jordan club, and probably not realizing I'm just pushing this agenda of all these things. And again, I think the same definitely can be said about Derek Jeter. 100% the same about Kobe Bryant.
Oh, we talked about it on Dirty Slides recently. I don't even know if Babe Ruth fucking hit. I don't know if Babe Ruth hit 30 home runs, let alone 800. Like, you got video of it? I've seen video of 6 of them. They're fucking. He just sold. We talked about it on Dirty Slides because his bat sold. He swung a 43-ounce bat. Okay, yeah, sure he did. But at the time, getting people out to the ballpark, to the America's pastime, and so that literally, for the first time ever, we could get thousands of people singing the national anthem in unison. They were like, "You gotta go see the Babe when he comes to town." Who's the Babe? Oh, he's like Godzilla meets the Bigfoot. He's a giant fat man who hits towering home. He hits them out of ballparks. He hits them out of fucking stadiums. He hits them over trains. Haven't you heard? And then you show up and they give you an American flag and they make you sing the national anthem. And you're like, where's the Babe? And the next thing you know, your grandkids are yelling at me to stand up at fucking ballparks when some fucking Marine that worked in a radio tower gets fucking throws a first pitch to his kids.
Well, I think it's important when you discuss these propaganda machines, the amount of money behind this stuff, guys. Like when you're a Michael Jordan and you're a Kobe Bryant and you're a Derek Jeter, you have multi-billion-dollar corporations. You have Nike. You have Sprite for Kobe. You have McDonald's for Kobe. You have Hanes. You have Gatorade. And the list, like, these are companies with, not only do they make billions, like their marketing budget, they're hiring the best of the best to spin something. And it's over and over. I mean, I don't even know, like off the top of my head, growing up as a kid in the 80s and 90s, I don't know who would even be number 2 as far as commercials to Michael Jordan.
It was always like a hot, like, guy of the moment.
So I'm saying, like I don't even know who I would put with longevity wise as a kid. And guys, it worked. Like again,
honestly, it was probably like Magic and Bird. Like, it was those guys who like kind of like hung around.
Shaq was big for a while.
Shaq was big. I mean, Shaq's still doing the general.
Sure. But like as a kid in Ohio, and I've said this, I had Bulls gear. I had Air Jordan
gear. The NBA loved that.
I didn't live, the closest I lived was to the Pacers still, right? Like, so it's like maybe 2 hours max. I hated the Pacers. I liked the Bulls.
I was just talking to a buddy about this the other day who was like, I was rooting for the Eagles in the Super Bowl. And I was like, first of all, fuck you. And he was like, no, because like I knew the NFL wants Mahomes. And I was like, you're so dumb. I was like, dude, I don't know how to, like, I was like, the NFL's whole business model is parody. Their business model is the Texans think today, they're going to draft their savior. They're going to compete this year. They're going to be in a Super Bowl in 5 years. That's the NFL's model. Today, people are on a flight to wherever the fucking draft is because they believe their savior will get drafted today and their team will win a Super Bowl soon. The NFL hates the idea of one team dominating. They hate it. Why would they want that? They don't. The 90s NBA, different story. We got a guy we can hang our hat on. We're going to China. We're going to Barcelona. We're going to fucking Canada. We're going to Mexico. We're going to expand. We're going to put a team in Canada. We're going to fucking go this. And this is our guy. Here's our fucking guy. And then when they got the next guy, they were fixing games. That's when that was the day they decided we're going to start fixing basketball games.
And I would make the argument, and that's why somebody like me loves the NFL. Whether it's right or wrong, you're like, hey, man, the small market of Cincinnati can compete with the small market of Kansas City for Super Bowls with the small market of Buffalo. You can't say that in a lot of these other sports. Now, actually, I shouldn't say you can do that in NBA too. The Bucks obviously are small market, but I'm saying like baseball, that's baseball's problem, right?
Yeah, but also if you look at the potential, like we just talked about, look at the potential in the NBA in the next round. New York, Boston, Philadelphia, Miami, Los Angeles, San Francisco,
all
Denver,
big markets. Yeah,
Phoenix,
all big markets. No, for sure.
Now it can happen because you get a great guy like Giannis to go to the Bucks. But if you don't think that Adam Silver is jizzing in his own mouth at what's about to happen in the second round of the NBA, the conference finals in the NBA, and the finals in the NBA, this is the best thing that ever happened to the dude. They're going to get they're going to get close to $100 billion for the next fucking TV deal.
Bad mental image, by the way. Do not want to think about Adam Silver doing that to himself. I bet.
It's not due till 2025. I mean, they could also continue to go broke. We'll see.
I bet he makes little Gizmo from Gremlins noises when he comes.
He just makes Tim Kirkchin noises.
Yeah, that's what my daughter does all the time. Weird segue to her, but it's like gremlin noises.
Why? Honestly, you did it, not me.
I know.
I suddenly pictured your young daughter immediately after picturing Tim Kirkchin jerking off Adam Silver. You did that.
By the way, she has been upgraded from Isla 2 chill to 100% Isla no chill.
Oh yeah?
Go back to the 2 chill, please. There's no chill. 24/7. So I don't know. That's something I'm gonna have to figure out. And look, we don't want to push propaganda because that's not what we do here at Dirty Sports. But I'll tell you what, if you're watching the draft tonight, no better beer than Miller Lite.
Well, dude, this is Miller Lite bonanza time. Every day I wake up, playoff basketball, playoff hockey, baseball, draft. It never ends. My girlfriend hears that Miller Lite crack in the other room. She literally said, I went into the kitchen, I got a beer, cracked it, walked out. Her head turned when she heard the crack. She goes, "What game are you putting on?" I go, "All of them. I'm putting them on all the TVs." She's like, how much sports are there? I go, "You know how much beer in the fridge there is? There's a game for every one of those beers."
Oh yeah.
It's on right now. It's literally Miller time.
It really is. And we talk about all these different sports events throughout the years and the 90s and the 80s and who were they rooting for in this team and this player. The one steady through all that has always been Miller Lite, guys. It's the OG, the original, great tasting light beer. Light beer with the flavor you love. Taste like Miller time. To get Miller Lite delivered right to your door. That's right. If you're watching all these events, you don't even have to leave your own residence. Get it delivered right to your door. Visit MillerLite.com/dirty sports. or you can find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces. And if you live in Milwaukee, have one on us, guys. I know you're going through some things right now with the Bucks.
Yeah.
So
if there's one place I wouldn't mind being if I was the fan of a number 1 seed that lost in the first round, it's Milwaukee. You get it fresh out the gates.
100%. The NFL,
I can't wait. Like I have saliva forming in my mouth right now at the idea of game 1, Knicks, Heat, Madison Square Garden, Sunday, 10 a.m. I'm putting a Miller in this. My gigantic coffee glass filled with Miller Lite. And you know what? Miller Lite did not ask us to do this part either, but Miller, I saw on Instagram today, Miller Lite Athletic Club, the collab with Mitchell and Ness, fire. Get yourself some merch.
Noise. Okay. Some breaking NFL news / Ian Rappaport says, not so fast. I'm seeing all these things that the Titans are trying to trade up to get that number 3 spot, and also DeAndre Hopkins.
The Titans want both?
He just tweeted, while the Titans have had conversations about a potential trade up to the number 3, among other things, they have not had conversations around DeAndre Hopkins.
There's a lot of talk DeAndre Hopkins to a lot of places.
Yeah. So we'll see it play out. Obviously, that's kind of the joy, and it's turned into the whole thing of the draft. We got a few calls. Now, look, I'll say this, guys. I appreciate all the calls about the draft. We were discussing before the show. I'm not going to play all of them. Thanks. A lot of you guys had the same calls. A lot of it was around the quarterbacks and who we would take and what we think about. But I'm going to start with a call that takes a different spin on how we should look at drafting quarterbacks and maybe take a different angle than what these teams traditionally do. So we'll start off with this call from Samir, who is saying, hey, these teams are doing it all wrong. This is how they should draft quarterbacks.
Hey guys, it's Samir from Austin. I think GMs haven't figured out this QB thing. And that is that they need to be taking quarterbacks in the first round or second round of a draft every year until they for sure have a due, which means that unless you have Joe Burrow or Herbert or Allen or one of those guys, you need to be taking a quarterback every year. Too many teams will draft a quarterback, wait 3 or 4 years to see if that quarterback pans out, and then eventually move on and draft another quarterback. Or they'll sign a mid-tier talent, see if that works out for 2 or 3 years, and in doing so, delay drafting more quarterbacks. The quarterbacks are volatile. They're hard to hit, and if you're taking a shot only once every 4 or 6 years, you're limiting your chances to get a franchise guy. Underappreciated aspect of the Super Bowl is the Eagles and Chiefs both took quarterbacks in the first and second round, even though they already had a decent quarterback on their roster. I know Wentz turned out to be shit, but at the time, Wentz still had some shine, and people thought he still had potential, and obviously Alex Smith was still performing really well. There's tons of quarterbacks that fall past teams that have a mid-range, a mid-tier, or a young quarterback that should have been drafted by those teams. Josh Allen fell. Lamar Jackson fell. The Broncos passed on Josh Allen because they had Case Keenum. What if they had taken Josh Allen? The Giants passed on Justin Herbert because they had just drafted Daniel Jones. They probably should have taken Herbert. You need to be taking more chances at quarterback until you finally hit one, instead of giving each quarterback 4 years and limiting your shots. Let's see what you guys think about that.
It's an interesting perspective.
I agree, but I also disagree. And I disagree because you have to consider something. There's a reason you're the worst team in the league. And it's not always just your quarterback. Patrick Mahomes was not a top 3 pick in the NFL. The dude fell in the middle of the draft. The Chiefs were able to get him while having a good team. He didn't go to the fucking Houston Texans. He didn't go to the Cleveland Browns. He went to a team that was playing in playoff games because he wasn't an elite prospect. Carson Wentz, injuries, the shine came off him for sure. Also, they took Jalen Hurts in the second round. They didn't go drafting. They didn't draft the top 3 again. You have to remember, you're drafting high because you're shitty. So if you draft high and you're shitty, and then your quarterback comes in and he doesn't immediately look good, maybe it's because you're shitty. Should the Jags have drafted another quarterback after Trevor Lawrence didn't look like he was the shit in year 2? The Chargers haven't won.
He had only played 1 year.
Right. The Chargers haven't won a playoff game. They should go get a better quarterback than Justin Herbert. You are shitty because you're shitty. Now, you may be middle of the pack because you don't have a quarterback. That's fine. And of course, an example, the Denver Broncos. Listen, John Elway should stick to throwing his wife down the stairs in a coke rage. We know about this is like Michael Jordan, the executive. Just because you're a great basketball player doesn't make you a great exec. Just because you're a great quarterback doesn't mean you know fucking shit about quarterbacks. John Elway, he's whiffed a lot. Like, he shouldn't have even fucking signed Case Keenum, let alone fucking passed on any quarterbacks because of Case Keenum. I agree and I disagree. I absolutely agree. You look at a team like the Jets, for example. They drafted a guy. They're not dog shit anymore, but their quarterback that they drafted is the absolute wrong thing. So if you're the Jets right now, you trade up to take one of these quarterbacks. You just signed Aaron Rodgers. You just traded for Aaron Rodgers. Oh, sit CJ Stroud behind him for 2 years. Right? I just don't know that that's the best use of draft capital. And I don't know if it's the best to give up on guys. Daniel Jones is a great example. You said Daniel Jones should have drafted Justin Herbert because they already drafted Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones is a playoff win. Justin Herbert doesn't. Again, hindsight's 2020. There's a lot of busts that have been taken. Should the Giants have given up on Daniel Jones and drafted Zach Wilson? Highly touted fucking quarterback.
I think something to remember when we have these discussions, it's so hard to hit. Like there are so few home runs, right? Like guarantees. There really are when it comes to quarterback.
In fact, the Jets did this. Didn't the Jets do this? The Jets took fucking Sam Darnold, then took Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
How's it going?
I mean, that's the thing. This is just where it's so difficult. Even this year, let's just segue to this year. And I appreciate all the calls, guys. We had a lot. Like I said, I'm not even going to play any of the calls. Like, what do you guys think at quarterback? Because the truth is, they're all the same calls. I could even say that for this year. Like, there's no quote unquote. I'm just trying to think of recent memory. There's no Joe Burrow in this year's draft, right? There's no like, hey, he's got the size, he's got the arm, he's got the accuracy. Now there's some projects out there, right?
Yeah, and I don't think Bryce Young's a project. I think he's got all the things, but there's questions about his size.
But that's my point.
In the NFL. Yeah,
that's my point. Like there's still quite like I
like Bryce Young.
I like Bryce Young too, and I've seen him play more than the other guys, obviously, because Bam was on national TV, and I don't watch the most college football like you. I like Bryce Young too. But
my thing with a guy like Richardson, for example, or even Will Levis, or even whatever. I mean, Richardson went to Florida. Like, I don't watch college football. I haven't watched college football in a long time. I knew what Tim Tebow was because he was winning fucking games at Florida.
Yeah.
I knew what Cam Newton was because Cam Newton won the fucking Heisman. He won a championship. Like, I'm not saying the same way I didn't say, like, dude, I love it when you go out and you get a Josh Allen from fucking Wyoming that no one's fucking heard of, and he's had to play in a situation where it's like you're always under the fucking gun. I love the Eli Manning, doormat of the fucking SEC kind of thing. But like, if you're on Florida or you're on Auburn or you're on whoever, and you're not like, I don't know you because you fucking aren't in the SEC championship game, which is about when I start watching college football, then I just don't know you. I'm not saying you don't have potential, but I'm saying you'd be a sure thing if I fucking knew of you.
Yeah.
Like a Will Levis, I have no fucking idea.
Yeah, no, me.
I don't watch a goddamn thing.
Same.
And guess what? It really won't matter to me depending on like where he goes.
I think also, which you didn't mention,
my opinion of a guy like that will change drastically if fucking Belichick trades up to get him.
Yeah, exactly. But I think a lot of times teams reach too. We see it. We see drafts where there aren't that rich of a QB crop, and teams are still like, well, they're not that good this year, but we need a QB. And then they draft some dipshit at number 3, and then you're stuck with. I mean, Zach Wilson's kind of a prime example. Like you're stuck with the guy who is not panning out. His teammates hate him. And you're already moving like the Jets in a way have tried this. They went from Darnold. They went to Zach Wilson. They're 0 for 2. Like you better hit. That's the thing. You better hit on one of these guys. I understand that you have to figure out within a few years, does this QB have the potential to take us to a Super Bowl?
And I just also think the examples of like Mahomes or something like that, it's like we're talking about a middle of the pack team that went up and got a guy that they thought was undervalued at fucking, where did he go?
Texas Tech.
No, I'm saying in the draft 10 or something like that.
10 or 12.
Yeah. We're not talking about the Chiefs went up and got whoever. And also, that's the thing. Ooh, you look at a team like that.
Yeah, he went 10th.
You look at a team like that. We were saying it forever. Alex Smith, good, not great. Now, listen to me. Listen to me right now. The Vikings making a move, going to get a guy to replace their Alex Smith. I love it. I love it. They won't do it. Because, God damn it, like, look at them. Look at where we're at with them.
Yeah.
But I would love that for them.
Sure.
If you're a Vikings fan, like Jesse Stanga, fucking Matt Padotti, this is what I'm rooting for you. Go. You have Alex Smith. How's that fucking working out for you? Go get Mahomes.
All right, let's get to another NFL call.
Hello, Joe and Andy. OG shithead turned dirtball, Scott from West Virginia. Just got a couple questions for you. What would you think of the NFL removing the salary cap? Would that help or hurt the current QB salary situation and just keeping teams together overall? In addition to that, Joe, with the recent trade of Aaron Rodgers to the Jets, are you worried about the Jets bet? And what even were the stipulations of the original Jets bet? And finally, Andy, with everything that you've done with the podcast, moving it to a digital medium, why don't you have guests on anymore? I feel like that'd be pretty easy to do. Condoms are for Joe Bartnick.
Why don't you have guests on anymore? Condoms are for your guests.
Well, we can start with the last question. I mean, we can have guests on. I actually found it easy. I know this might sound crazy. In a weird way, it was like almost easier. Hey, come here. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel like we have made super supreme efforts to have like.
No, I haven't.
And maybe it is easier these days, but it's like, hey, you just have to log into a fucking Zoom thing. You know me, I'm down for it. I mean, like this time of year, I don't think we need them. You know, we had first of all, we had a hockey correspondent on last episode. So, you know, but like, I'm always down to have people on that add something to this. If we had to talk hockey or we have to talk whatever, or, you know, some team drafts somebody and let's have somebody that like blah, blah, blah. I'm always down for it. Salary, like the NFL makes too much money not to have a salary cap. We just talked about the parity.
Yeah. It's the best thing ever.
Yeah. All the cap finagling, all the fucking thing. They're already bending the cap as far as like, you like Joe Burrow on the Bengals? Say goodbye to that. With the amount of money in the NFL, look at what the Rams did a couple years ago. Look what the Rams did a couple years ago. We have a new fucking stadium. We're in LA. Let's make a splash. Let's get everybody. You guys like dynasties? The Rams would still be winning because the Rams would have re-signed Von Miller. They would have signed Odell Beckham Jr. and been like, cool, sit out next year. They would have signed Mahomes to fucking back up Stafford or Stafford to back. Like,
yeah.
Is baseball fun for you guys?
I was going to say, like, why would you, like, best thing ever. Are you worried about the Jets bet?
Well, yes, I am worried about the Jets bet. This is precisely so. I'll say this: this is sort of a catch-22, if you will. I am obviously worried about the Jets bet. Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback the Jets have had since Ryan Fitzpatrick, maybe going further back than that. The idea, I think Kyle will have to call next show, remind us all where we landed. I think it's now 11 wins instead of 10 wins, or 10 wins in a division, or 10 wins in a playoff win, something like that. I forget where it is. But of course, I mean, it's Aaron Rodgers. He's a top, 5 quarterback of all time. He's a top, I don't know. I mean, he's a top 3 quarterback in the NFL when he's at his best today. Like, he's an all-timer. Of course I'm worried about it. Flip side of the coin, it's still the Jets.
Yeah.
It's still the Jets.
Like he'll shred his ACL or something.
He'll shred his ACL, or they'll win fucking 10 games and they'll lose to the fucking whoever. They're still Favre went there.
Started 8-3.
And then where'd he go? He was in the Vikings, took the Vikings to an NFC Championship game. It's still the Jets.
It is crazy.
It's still the Jets.
Yeah.
Now, as a Giants fan, separate from the bet, it's sort of like, I was talking to somebody about this the other day. They were like, are you worried about like the Jets? And I'm like, we don't really have a rivalry like that with the Jets. Like, Jets fans are certainly the more obnoxious of the two franchises. So like, you don't want the Jets to be going to the AFC Championship game and the Giants to stink. But I think it's great to have both football teams be great. I mean, if you look at New York sports right now, just in the most recent iteration of playoffs, every single New York team, Knicks, Nets, Mets, Yankees, Devils, Rangers, Islanders, New York Giants, every single franchise in New York sports in the big 3, 4 made the playoffs, except the New York Jets, who just got Aaron Rodgers. So it's like, New York sports is back, baby.
Yeah.
So good for the Jets. But yeah, of course I'm worried about the bet. It's Aaron Rodgers.
It's also the Jets.
It's also the Jets.
I sent you this the other day. I'll just pull it up. I mean, it sums up the Jets. Somebody tweeted out, division title since 1966. Since 1966, division titles. The Lions are the fewest with 3. The Jets are tied with the Jags for second fewest with 4. Like, think about that. Since 1966, the Jets have 4 division titles, 1 above the Lions. Like, they're
winning them every fucking 15 years. Like, what? Yeah.
Just a division. That's not even a playoff game, a division title. Yeah, Jet's gonna jet. Although I gotta say, I like it. They're down. I like seeing a team that's down. You get Aaron Rodgers. I like Robert Saleh. I like what he does as a coach. I like his persona. I like what he did in San Francisco. It's gonna be a fun division. All right, let's get out of here. NFL draft about to happen.
Let's go.
310-359-8365. That is our hotline. Give us a ring. Social at The Dirty Sports.
At Joe Prano on all social media. JoeBrano.com for shows. I got a bunch of shows coming up in LA. There's a great show, Laugh City. Our boy Lyle Behrens runs this show called Laugh City. That's the one at Ueno Vino. He's doing it every few weeks there in Atwater Village. I'll be on that like a few times the next month. Vegas at the end of May. Stamford, Connecticut, June 7th, Wednesday, June 7th. It's going to be a bonanza, sort of a homecoming show, right down the block from where I went to high school. Friends and family will be in the crowd. Pre-show, I'm sure there'll be like dinner, post-show, after party. It's going to be like one of those. It's going to be like an event. So if you're in the tri-state area, get your tickets now. Come down to see me at New York Comedy Club, Stamford, June 7th. I shout out to the Dirtballs who've already joined my Substack. Shout out especially to our boy Keenan Soto, the first paid member of the Substack, even though I haven't put out my page yet, but I'm about to. It starts today. But follow me on Substack. Lots of good stuff coming there. Stand-up comedy clips, podcasts, tweets, sort of stuff on Substack notes, all kinds of things. People have been like, Knicks, Heat, no, Mets, talk to me about it. I'm doing it. It's all over there. Follow me over there, please. Would appreciate it. Follow me for free, for starters, and then you can decide if you want to jump in and subscribe.
You guys can follow me on my new dad Facebook group, Dads Helping Dads. That's live, so make sure you do that as well.
It's lit.
I did, out of curiosity, and we'll wrap this up, I put in Dad Pod into there's like 30 podcasts just called Dad Pod.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
I just started laughing. I'm like, this many? We have this many? Anyway. All right, guys, that's our show. Enjoy your weekend. I'm gonna go play with Roscoe. He's antsy. He's got ball. He keeps bringing the balls over here. That's why I keep looking over there. Guy gets the house to himself with me today.
Look, can I do one last minute plug before we get going? If you shout out to Roscoe, by the way, love Roscoe. The house that Roscoe built, Casa Roscoe. Roscoe, unlike Babe Ruth, truly built that house. He is real. He's not a CIA propaganda campaign. There he is. Roscoe, great dog. Another great dog. The rescue that I have, Jack. I'm fostering Jack the Great Dane. It's on my TikTok. It's on my Instagram. If you're in the LA area or know someone who is, I got a fantastic fucking dog that is too much dog for a guy that goes on the road as much as I do. I'd love to keep him. I might end up keeping him, but I really love to give him a good home. If you or someone you know is in and around Los Angeles and needs an amazing dog, DM me. Bye.
All right, that's our show. Have a great weekend. We'll see you guys on Monday. And as always, stay dirty.
Go New York, go New York.